This is a summary of how the passage went down. Cocktails, anyone? Is it lunchtime?
It's magic hour, this is when the sharks come out.
But does that look like Santa's little helper to anybody else?
Someone's sunglasses flew over into the water. Our batteries weren't charging. So it's a 24 volt system and we were seeing like 20 volts and we'd only kind of just unplugged. What's happened is the hose, the exhaust hose, has come off of the through hull. So we haven't even made it out the Gulf Stream.
We're right in the middle of it.
Oi! I think we have about 63 miles to go. So we arrived last night, like 10 PM I think it was, and found a mooring in a place called Sopper's Hole. Haven't really been that much to the BVIs, but it's in the island of Tortola. So we are going to have to go check in today to customs and go around to a marina later on in the afternoon to drop this boat off. There is a small possibility that I baked too many cookies while underway because the gas has run out pretty much last night. We couldn't finish eating dinner and it's only been like 4 weeks maybe since we changed the gas bottle. So I maybe used a bit too much gas while underway while cooking. But, you know, we had a spare, so it was fine. So this morning we're changing out the gas bottle so we can actually have some coffee. Oh, and obviously this boat has a microwave, so it's fine.
This is a summary of how the passage went down. Want something done? And rest. Cocktails, anyone? Is it lunchtime?
We have arrived. Just put the boat onto the dock, just hooked up the power, got all the lines squared away. Now we have to clean all the boat, get all of our rubbish off of it, straighten it out for when the owner comes to greet her. Total mileage achieved, 1,546. Not bad at all. And I reckon the highest, allegedly the maximum speed for the trip was 18.5 knots. Yeah, right. And the average speed 6.3 knots, which sounds about right considering how becalmed we were. Total hours 247. So what's that in days? 10 days and change. Not bad at all.
After a month in chilly Annapolis and 10 days at sea, we were all pretty keen to get out and explore the warm tropical waters of the BVIs.
Well, that wasn't a bad snorkel. It was good too after bloody 10 days at sea, 12 days at sea kind of, to go in for a bit of a swim. And the sun is just kind of setting behind the hill. As Adam just said, it's magic hour, this is when the sharks come out. And while he does actually try and go and find sharks, because he's Australian, of course, that's what they do, I think maybe it's time to head back to the boat. Oh, especially because my hands are shivering. Under around there.
I'm gonna eat by a tarpon. It's gonna be on you.
Someone's sunglasses flew over into the water. In my defense, oh.
I found them!
You got them!
I swallowed too much water.
I took them off because I was looking at the jib and I was like, you know what? If I have them on the top of my head, they're going to fall off and then they're going to go in the water. Put them on the dock. Wind blows straight into the water. So, yes, take back the count. That was going to be, oh my God, these are, wow. That was going to be a -1 for the sunglass column. All good, gotten back.
So we've been here for a few days now, and an electrician has come on board the boat to have a look at the issue that we were having with our batteries. Don't know what he's going to come up with for the solution, because it's weird, like it happened twice when we were on the passage. The first time our batteries just completely drained within like 4 hours, and then we turned back around again, 6 hours, and then we turned back around again. And then the second time, completely replaced the battery, brand new battery bank, and we had to motor for about a day and a half to get across the Gulf Stream in what was going to be a calm. When we turned the engine off, the batteries once again discharged really quickly, like within 6 hours or something. Same issue happened twice now with 2 sets of battery banks. So an electrician's coming on the boat and Adam's over there to help the electrician, or to suss out what's wrong and supervise whatever. So I thought that I would have a little wander, since this is the BVI's and all, and it's kind of known for its beaches and hot weather, all things that gingers love. So I thought I'd just take a little wander around, to be honest. We've got our flights booked to go back to Australia in about, not tomorrow, but the day after. So we're not really going to have that much time to explore. So I'm going to try and make the most of it, of doing it while I can, before we have to pack and clean up the boat tomorrow. I'm sorry, but does that look like Santa's little helper to anybody else, or is that just me? A very strange sign. Well, I said to Adam before, I'm going to go for a walk, try and find a beach. And he was like, oh, I think around here you might find more highway than beach. And he was not wrong. As much as I would like for him to not be right, this is probably, there are so many beaches around here, but I think a lot of them are accessible via boat, which is annoying because our boat's in the marina, or this boat here is in the marina. So I'm gonna head back. But it was nice though, we did manage to actually get a little bit of a snorkel in, and to be honest, this marina has its own beach, which is actually quite nice. Like it's not that bad. I just thought I might try and find another beach. But yeah, it was cool looking around this place a little. I wouldn't have minded to do a kind of inland walk up here, like up in one of these mountains. I think that would be really cool. Just don't have the time though at the moment. Like, it's such a massive change from when we first came here in 2018, when after the hurricanes had been through. I think we were here like 6 months after the hurricanes, and it is incredibly different. Like, yeah, there's still like a boat that's kind of rocked up, there's still a boat that's like crashed up on the rocks and everything, but that's like just 1 or 2 of them, not like the whole island. And it's so lush, so green. It's annoying that we only have like a couple of days here before we have to fly off, and that the boat is stuck in the marina and we can't use it to go to the other islands. But we have been here before, and you know, it's can't complain too much. I'm sure we'll be here again. So what did the electrician say?
So we had everything up, and we went right through all the systems. There's some
There was some interesting use of relays to like overflow charge the starter battery and the bow thruster battery with the house bank, and that was, it wasn't wrong, it just wasn't best practice, and we don't think that was necessarily the cause. But what the guy did find, and he only found it on like the second or third pass, and we all missed it, was midway through the bank, the 24 volt bank, there were 2 battery posts that were sort of loose, sort of like it wasn't necessarily, it's just because the battery lines, the cables were cut to almost perfect length, so everything was really beautifully organized. When you wiggle them, if one side's good and the other side's bad, they don't really, like, you can't really turn it, be like, oh, that's loose. So we all missed it, and it was like the second pass, I think, and he was like, huh. He got a spanner on, and he was like, oh, actually, gee, that's loose. And so what we suspect, and the problem's gone away, we've had everything, we've discharged it, charged it, discharged it, charged it again, it hasn't missed a beat. So what we suspected was that these 2 terminals across the bank, sort of mid-bank, were not so loose as to be an obvious perpetual fault, but loose enough that at certain levels of discharge it would sort of give up. And what we were experiencing, and this is the theory, is that sort of intermittently we were sort of chopping our battery bank in half. So that's the leading theory at the moment, is that we had a loose fitting that was intermittently basically breaking in half the battery bank, and thus suddenly what is a benign load becomes a fairly significant load across the bank, and thus the voltage goes off a cliff. And when you're charging it up, the voltage picks up, and suddenly that poor continuity is passable, and so the voltage jumps right back up again. So that's the leading theory. We fixed all of that, and subsequently the problem's gone away. So fingers crossed. That's, you know, I'm actually like, I'm shame on myself, because what do you do first time you have an electrical fault? First thing, and I know you're all saying it in the comment section before I even finish the story, first thing you do, check all the connections. And nobody on board did that, or rather, nobody on board did it beyond sort of the jiggle. So lessons learned from our mistakes: don't just jiggle it, get a spanner on every single one and like nip it up, regardless of whether it seems loose, because I think that was our problem.
What I find strange is that this was a situation for both the battery banks.
yeah, good point.
Very
So
strange.
this happened twice in a row,
Yes.
two entirely separate banks.
Yeah.
One 12 months old, the other
No, one was like
either.
6 to 9 months old,
Yeah.
and the other one an hour old, 2 hours
Like,
old. It's like
maybe 12.
so strange. But as Adam said at the time, he was like, oh, I'm just so annoyed, because that's kind of the first thing that you do is check the connections, and that's on the second go around on our way down. That's not something that anybody really thought to do, which is annoying. Anyway, so we're leaving day after tomorrow, and let's go and have a sunset beer tonight, shall we, on the beach?
Yeah.
I bought some beers for the occasion.
Last day, polishing the boat, but he's polishing your shoes. I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, she takes as much care of the boat as she does of her shoes.
Alright, last day, we're gonna go off the boat. Oh my goodness, have I shown them the extensive flight list yet?
No, I don't think you have.
It's in my backpack. I'll show you later. We have 18 flights over the next 6 weeks, and majority of them are going to be happening in the next 4 days, I'd say. I think there's like a fair amount, maybe like 12 happening in the next few days. Busy few days. I'm sure that we'll probably whiz through it, because there's only so many shots of flights that we can take before you guys are like, okay, we get the point, you're traveling. But we're going to be traveling for pretty much the next 4 days, from BVIs to LA to Brisbane in Australasia, and then Perth. I forgot about Perth. Perth is our destination.
Everybody forgets about Perth. Our first Oyster 53 in the bag. Chalk up another sortie. travel incident number 1. Kiara, would you like to tell the ladies and gentlemen why we got stopped at Puerto Rican Customs Authority?
Banana bread.
Banana bread got us in trouble. Banana bread. It's probably 3 days old and very, very dry banana bread.
I think you should be filming yourself singing.